Chapter 13. Alan, Ellie, Lex, and Tim raced to the control room. Alan made sure Tim was okay. Then he ran back to lock the door. "Hey, the door doesn't lock," Alan said. "The computer has to give the signal." Ellie was studying the flashing computer screen. "We have to turn on the programs," she explained. Bang! A snarling raptor hit the door. Alan pushed back, trying to keep it out. Bang! The raptor tried again. The door gave way, a little. Alan couldn't hold it by himself. Ellie ran over to help, but even two people couldn't keep it shut for long. Lex slid into the command chair at the computer. Her fingers flew over the keyboard. Where was that door lock command? At last she found it. There was a beep, a buzz, and the lock clicked shut. The raptor was locked outside. Ellie joined Lex at the main computer. They put their heads together. Minutes later, they had all the park systems running. At last, Jurassic Park was under control. Meanwhile, Alan phoned the underground shelter. "The kids are fine," he told Mr. Hammond, "and we've got everything back on. You can call the mainland for help." Suddenly there was a scream, and Alan dropped the phone. The raptor was at the window. "Quick," said Alan. "The ceiling." He ushered everyone up a ladder, and Ellie moved aside a ceiling panel. Then she, Lex, and Tim pulled themselves up into the crawl space. Alan was about to follow when the raptor hurled itself into the room, shattering the glass into little pieces. Without a moment to lose, Alan swung up through the open panel. He caught up to the others, and they ran across the ceiling, panel by panel, with Alan helping Tim along. But the raptor saw the ceiling move beneath them. It leaped up high, smashing through the panel in front of Ellie. For a second, the raptor hung suspended in air, snapping and snarling. Then it fell to the floor. Alan motioned everyone to keep moving. Seconds later, the raptor broke through the ceiling again. This time, it struck the panel Lex was standing on. "Ah!" she screamed. Lex was lifted up, right on the raptor's head. Alan kicked at its neck. It snapped back and dropped to the ground. Lex was falling too. Just in time, Alan caught her by the shirt. She dangled for a second. Then Alan pulled her up into the ceiling again. "Into the air duct," Alan shouted. Metal boomed all around as they raced through the duct. They were safe for the moment, but they had to get down to escape. Finally, they came to a metal grating above the visitor center lobby. Looking down, they could see the dinosaur skeletons and the scaffolding. "Let's go through here," said Alan, lifting out the grating. Everyone dropped onto the scaffolding. It was too high to jump to the ground. There was only one thing left to do. Alan stepped onto the brachiosaurus skeleton. Would it hold his weight? Yes, and it seemed strong enough to hold more. The anchor bolts in the ceiling were keeping the skeleton firmly in place. "Come on," Alan said to the others. "It's okay." Bone by bone, Ellie and the kids started to climb down the skeleton. All at once, there was a groaning sound. The bolts were slowly pulling free of the ceiling. Ellie looked up. "We're going to make it," she said. "We're going to—" Just then came the sound of claws running on the metal, and the raptor flew out of the air duct. It landed with a loud thump on the scaffolding above their heads. The brachiosaurus swayed with the impact. "Go, go!" shouted Alan. Everyone picked up speed, scampering down the skeleton at breakneck pace. Making its move, the raptor sprang onto the brachiosaurus's neck, but the extra weight was too much. The anchor bolts ripped free, and the skeleton collapsed like a flimsy house of cards. Alan, Ellie, and the kids tumbled to the ground with the raptor right behind. They landed on a pile of bones, the raptor a few feet away. Everyone was okay, but now the raptor was trying to stand. It got up shakily, staggered for a moment, then fell back to the floor. Alan and Ellie gathered the kids close, helping them to their feet. The main entrance was just a few yards away. If they could get outside. They were almost there when they saw the other raptor. It was in the doorway, blocking their escape. Behind them, the first raptor pulled itself up. Hissing, the raptors crouched for their attack. There was nowhere to hide, and nothing to do. All of a sudden, a tremendous tearing noise echoed through the lobby. A dark, giant shadow fell across the room. The Tyrannosaurus Rex had broken through the lobby wall. Compared to the mighty T-Rex, the raptors looked like toys. Vicious, hungry toys. The T-Rex lowered its great head, reaching down and down. Then it clamped its jaws around the nearest raptor. The helpless dinosaur howled in pain as the T-Rex lifted it high into the air. For a moment, the Tyrannosaurus tossed its head back and forth, swinging the raptor in its mouth. Finally, it dropped the raptor to the ground. "Ow!" howled the raptor with its final breath. Then the lobby was silent, and Alan was able to hear the screech of tires. Mr. Hammond and Ian Malcolm had just pulled up in a jeep, but the second raptor was going into action. Leaping 12 feet into the air, it lunged at the T-Rex. The raptor clawed at the T-Rex's side, slashing out with its deadly sharp claws. The Tyrannosaurus bellowed and began to fight back. Alan didn't waste a minute. He herded everyone outside and into the waiting jeep, just as the T-Rex felled the raptor with one mighty blow. But before the jeep could pull away, the T-Rex whirled around to face it. Luckily, its powerful tail struck the other skeleton, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it stopped in confusion. The skeleton crumbled, and Alan saw the Tyrannosaur bones fall harmlessly around the living, breathing dinosaur. Nothing can compare to the real thing, Alan thought. Nothing. And they sped away. When they were at a safe distance from the T-Rex, Alan closed his eyes. He felt relief, exhaustion, everything at once. Then he looked around at Ellie, Lex, and Tim and had to grin. "By the way, Mr. Hammond," he said, "I've given this careful consideration, and I've decided not to endorse Jurassic Park." Mr. Hammond smiled and said, "After careful consideration, so have I." A little later, everyone was on board a helicopter, heading for home. Rescue teams had been sent for the mainland, along with doctors who had examined each person. Ian Malcolm was going to be fine, so was Tim. Everyone was safe and sound. They were thankful, but they also felt a little sad. Jurassic Park would never open. The animals would have to be destroyed. Dinosaurs would never roam the earth again. In the back of the helicopter, Alan sat with Lex and Tim. Ellie smiled at him. She never thought he'd be so comfortable with kids. He'd changed in the past couple of days, but then she thought they all had. They had made it out alive. They were survivors. Ellie moved over to sit next to Alan. She grabbed his hand and held it tight. Lex looked over. Quickly, she reached for his other hand. She still thought he was cute. Alan smiled at both of them. Then he gazed out the window. He saw a flock of birds fly by in perfect formation. They looked like a herd of dinosaurs running across a field. Alan nudged Tim. Tim looked out the window too, then grinned. He understood. In some ways, dinosaurs would always live on. I hope you enjoyed this reading of Jurassic Park, the Junior Novelization. If you enjoy our content, please like, share, and subscribe. Our next video will be Star-Lord reading Guardians of the Galaxy, the Junior Novelization. Good night.